rural, eh?
Yeah, so Johnson.
Yes.
The rural dividend.
Yeah, I just dropped it off. I don't know how many there are. Is that-
You have enough?
Perfect, thank you.
The walk.
All right, I would like to call the October 25th regularly scheduled meeting of the Village of McBride to order. First item on the agenda is late items, if any. We have 3 late items tonight. One is the EDO communication content strategy. Carl has added and updated his report. That's under 7C.2.
So does that just replace the one that was in the agenda?
Yeah, he just wanted to put out more information for you guys.
The second item that's a late item is the under 10C, it's the McBride Pocket Community, a report from the Rural Dividend Committee. And under 10D, you have a report, mayor's report on my meeting with the climbing group. And we'll put that under 10D.
10B?
D.
10B.
D. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Vote to approve.
Thank you, Councilor Rickert.
Second.
Seconder, thank you, Councilor Thompson. All in favor? Carried. Second item on the agenda is the reading and the approving of the October 11th regular council minutes. Can I get a mover? So moved. Seconder?
Second. Or Ralph, you can have it. No,
No argument.
take it.
Okay.
Any errors or omissions? Councilor Thompson?
Has there been a change in the way we're doing the minutes?
Pardon? No, it's the same template we've used for, since
No.
I've started.
But I just wanted to comment, whoever's doing them, I've noted a dramatic improvement in lack of clericals.
Thank you.
So whoever's doing it, good
Pass
job.
kudos on. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other errors or omissions, or question, all in favor? Any opposed? I didn't see your hand go up, Councilor Thompson.
Oh, no, I'm in favor.
Carried. Next item is petitions and delegations. We have none. So we'll move right into, oh, sorry, no petitions and delegations and no questions from the public. Sorry about that, Kelly. We'll move into unfinished business. First item is the amendment for the 2016 budget. We're still waiting for to hear from our professional advice. So we'll move on to B, which is the financial policy 2016 final draft on page 14 in your package. Sorry, hang on, flipping. So can I get a motion that the Council of the Village of McBride resolve to approve the financial policy 2016 FN-01? One jump. I'll move it.
I have to speak to it, so.
So you can't move it because you don't agree with that?
Not yet.
I'll move. I've already moved it, so I said I'll move it. So you
I'll
can second it? Thank you, Councilor Rickert. All right, discussion. Councilor Thompson.
Okay, just a couple of things that concern me. As I'm looking through the bulleted section at the top of the
Yes.
first page, procedures, and I'm sorry, policy and procedures are put in place that guide employees, that's fine. But then the next 4 bullets don't fit that pattern of discussion.
We're talking on the background section?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, procedures are put in place that accounts receivable are produced in an accurate and timely manner. I'm just not sure. Like when I see something, it's that the procedures are put in place that enables that something that, for example, that guide something or that address something.
Mm-hmm.
But the middle 4 are worded differently.
Well, with those ones, that came, this whole policy is, as you recall, Councillor Thompson came down from the internal audit
Yes,
and
I'm aware.
the fact that there was a lack of a policy or anything in place for accountability and to guide staff. So all of the things that were found in that investigation
Mhm.
are included in this document to make sure
Okay.
that the finance department runs smoothly.
So I guess what I'm looking for is, for example, in bullet number 2, to follow with the pattern, it should say something with that ensure that accounts receivable are produced in an accurate and timely manner. Number 3, that, or number 4, that ensures that all statutory financial requirements and deadlines are strictly adhered to. There seems to be a verb missing in there.
You, I would let Mayor Martin speak to it if she created the policy.
I don't have a problem if you want to stick insured in there, Rick. Where would you like it? Sorry, Councillor Thompson.
Well, it's in the 4 bullets, number
Mhm.
2, 3, and 4,
It would start with.
That ensure,
To ensure.
where they,
that ensure. Accounts receivable are produced in a timely and accurate manner. That ensure accounts payable are processed in the period in which they occurred and in a manner that ensures no unnecessary fines, penalties, or late charges are incurred. That ensures deposits and bank reconciliations are performed in a timely manner. Do you just want to stick ensure in there all the way down?
yeah.
Just a grammatical point for bullet 3, do you want it to have 2 insures in there, or?
Put ensures all the way down.
I'm sure it could be wordsmith, it's just that it appeared that there was a missing word.
I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. But yeah, just wordsmith it, Kelly. I mean, it's all meant to ensure that these things are done properly. So I don't have a problem with that.
Under number 1,
Mm-hmm.
is the capital B supposed to be capital B?
That's how it was submitted to administration.
Oh, nope, that wasn't supposed to be.
And then I'm gonna ask about consistency. I want you to refer to 3.2
Mm-hmm.
and 5.1.
Mm-hmm.
3.2 says invoices are forwarded to the CAO for initialing,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5.1 says they're provided to the finance department.
Mm-hmm.
Is that consistent?
The procedure is that when all invoices come in, that they are date stamped by staff. They are then forwarded to the CAO for initialing. Then, so was 5.1 was your other one?
Mm-hmm. I can see.
Then they're
yeah.
forwarded by the CAO to the finance department, who are responsible ensuring that they're paid on time. And 5.1 strictly deals with deposits.
But I can see.
But it
we're
talks
talking-
about
yeah.
invoices.
It's got a repeat of the invoices in there, Mayor Martin. Right at the very beginning.
Right, that should be, yeah, 5.1 shouldn't be there.
Strike it. No, any checks received by, so it should be perhaps say all checks received by the village.
On mine I've got, on the procedure of deposits, all invoices should be date stamped and any
Mhm.
checks received.
So the invoices
Doesn't need to be there
fall
because
under-
that, yeah, it doesn't fall under deposits. So just the checks.
Okay.
So we're changing everything around, or this was in
No.
before?
No, this is
No.
more just grammatical.
So would it then read, for fairness, I'll read back what I'm understanding of it. Any checks should be date stamped. Any checks received by the village should be date stamped and are to be provided to the finance department.
That sounds good.
Councillor Thompson?
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Anything else on
finally,
that?
just one more on the final page, 16, number 7.2.
Sorry, I'm writing
Yeah,
section
I'll
dates
slow
now.
down.
I just want to make sure I have it correct because I'm this week right. Okay, and then to 7.2,
Section 7 talks about BC assessment and land title downloads,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure how 7.2 fits into that category. I think
Seven,
that
before,
should be down in Section 9, I presume.
Mm-mm.
no, I'm sorry. When you get downloads from BC Assessments every single month, and they should be downloaded into the system because it updates ownership. So anytime you go to produce a billing run, a notice run, whether it be taxes or utilities or anything else, if it uses ownership information, that should be done immediately prior to running them. It should be a check and a balance to make sure that the information is getting to the correct owners.
Yeah, I said it looked more like a year-end task than it did.
It is for year end too, when you do your rollover.
Okay.
Okay.
So are we going to read the language on 7.2 as it stands?
72,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, that's in its appropriate place. All right, any other questions or comments on that, council? Okay, I'll call the question then, all in favor? Carried.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended, thank you. Next one is the Human Resource Standing Committee Terms of Reference Final Draft on page 17. Motion reads that the Council of the Village of McBride resolve to approve the Human Resources Standing Committee Terms of Reference. Can I get a mover and a seconder? So moved. Seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Tracy. Discussion? Everyone's coming. Yes, Councillor Thompson.
Again, I'm going to raise my similar concern that B1, I think that the standing committee could be comprised of 2 councillors, not necessarily having to be the mayor. I've raised that before, but it hasn't changed, and I'm going to bring it up again. Under section C5, I would like to strike the word major changes to the management organizational structure, because I think that we should be kept apprised of any changes in the management organizational structure.
I would agree on both points. Yes, me too.
The problem with the first one is the mayor is the CEO of the organization and responsible for communication directly with the CAO and providing council things. That's why the mayor is on this type of
Right,
thing.
and I understand that part, but as the mayor is the CEO, the mayor should also be keeping council aware of what's going on with the CEO, so we should all have the same information. Like you shouldn't have all the information that we don't have, right?
Well, the CAO and the mayor talk on a daily basis. It's very common that they have a different relationship than the rest of council.
Right, which is another reason why the mayor shouldn't be on that committee.
The mayor, sorry, I think it's wrong. I think it's a statutory thing. The mayor should be there. That's part of my job. Councillor Thompson?
This is a standing committee that reports back to council, and it only makes recommendations to council, and those decisions would then be approved by council, which would include the mayor. Those are my reasons for for that point. The other one that I had concern with was number 9, C9. I think it seems to me that an appointment of council members to the bargaining or the labor relations committee, labor relations, should be done by council as a whole, not by a standing committee, because you're going to have to come back to council anyway. So I wasn't. I felt that should be stricken from that standing committee.
Well, from my experience to answer that, Councillor Thompson, council members usually are not on bargaining committees. It usually consists of HR, LR, sometimes finances, and other things. Most often, council members do not participate in bargaining because of the size of our community and the size of our staff. Council does get appointed. You know, we need council there to participate in bargaining. So,
So all I'm saying is that I believe that task of assigning or appointing council members to the bargaining committee should be done by council, not the standing committee.
Yeah, I will agree with that. What do you think, Kelly?
I'm here to be guided by council's wishes. My one point of order would be that I can confirm this, but I'm quite sure a mayor has to be part of the standing committee. But I might be incorrect on that.
Well, this is the document that you brought forward as a consultant, and that was after consulting with many municipalities. That was
But
my
yeah.
understanding of this at the time.
That's correct.
So I disagree with Councillor Thompson's point on that, but agree with the council appointing to the bargaining committee and the striking of the word major.
Would I, so we'll strike 9.9 completely then? Am I understanding?
C9.
C9, just
Yes.
strike it. Okay.
So that leaves one issue to decide on is whether or not you want the mayor on there. And like I said, it's my understanding that that's the way it should go.
Well, perhaps we need to look into that then. Just think the mayor has to be on there.
I could do that right now if council wishes. Or we can put this over. It's either or.
Just put it over, that will give you a chance to review your notes from when you were consulting. So we'll postpone them. So I guess the motion can't go through. Do I just do a motion to postpone them? All right, can I get a motion to postpone until the next council meeting?
So moved.
I'm waiting for us.
Councillor Reichert seconded.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Tracy. All in favor? Carried. Next item on the agenda is the AFT Financial Officer Final Draft Job Description for review and discussion. Motion that the Council of the Village of McBride resolve to approve the Finance Officer job description. Can I get a mover on that?
So moved.
Seconder?
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Singleton. Discussion? Councillor Thompson.
Okay. Looking at, bear with me 1 second so I get it right. Okay. I'm looking at the required education, knowledge, skills, and abilities, bullet 1. 2 or more years experience. And I'm looking at preferred education and training, and it says 5 or more years in the financial field.
Yes.
Are we okay with that?
One is required and our preference would be to have more than that.
Okay. Checking for my clarification, my understanding. Duties of the position not all inclusive. I brought this up before. Number 7. Assisting in preparing, maintaining, and publishes the municipal voters
I
list.
apologize, I was gonna strike that, I don't know if that was.
Okay. And lastly, the only thing I have, this is a finance position. I know that they perform the duties of this chief administrative officer, but I still suggest that numbers 1 and 2 are legislative duties of the corporate officer.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
But if you remove both of those, will you not have a problem because then it takes away the ability to delegate that?
Well, one of our challenges in a small community is without, say I got sick or I was totally overwhelmed doing other work, we cannot assign the correspondence or any of the confidential work the council may have or need done, letters or anything. These cannot be assigned to union staff. It has to be assigned to an excluded member. So that's one of our challenges. It is something that we assist back and forth between both of those positions, that our included staff legislatively can't look at some of the work we do.
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges, but yeah, I can see that the wording, certainly, if you could suggest wording there, Councillor Thompson, I'd be happy to make note of it.
Sorry, and was it under duties of the position?
Yep, number one, yeah.
Okay,
And two,
but number 2 does say assists in preparing, is that not,
It does, and number 1 says performs a coordinating role.
can we just say assists in
We could,
somewhere there?
or may assist, or maybe
Or as
required to,
required.
maybe required to assist.
I guess my concern in bringing that up is, we know that the role of the financial officer is a big role and is, I just don't want to see the financial officer position clouded with other responsibilities. And it does say in the preamble that in the absence of the CAO, this position acts and performs the duties of the CAO.
I can honestly say that I've never felt any need to delegate my tasks to a staff member, Councillor Thompson. However, we could drop both of those because performs other duties as necessary or directed would cover either of those items.
Here's the
Next
one.
would.
So we could strike 1 and 2 completely, really.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Anyone else? Okay, so we can accept it, then it'll be as amended. And I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. All right, so next item on page 22 is the PDA, no, that's the other one I just did?
No, PDA is
The
a physical.
PDA, the final draft presented for review and discussion.
So moved.
Page 22. Can I say the motion before you start moving it?
Sure.
Okay. Motion that the council of the Village of McBride resolve to approve the finance officer physical job assessment. So moved by,
Moved by Councillor Thompson.
second,
Councillor Ricker?
thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. So next item on the agenda was the BC Bike Grant. I have around here somewhere. So in last week's agenda, we had a recommendation from administration that would consider planning a bike trail that connects from the Village of McBride to the Tier Mountain system. And it suggested that we start by hiring someone to do an engineering firm familiar with, it has to be a firm that's familiar with road and trail building to put together a quick sketch of this trail. We can do that in this year's budget if council so desires, but for the main one, to actually build the trail, that would have to be done in the next budget. It's in the last one.
In your binder.
Oh, sorry. No, it's in your binder from last one, and I'm just following up on it. So in order to move this forward, I'd like to get the money going to at least get the initial sketch done, not the actual engineer drawings, but the initial sketch done to make it move forward. Kelly has looked at, I think it was professional fees in the budget, and there is money there. Engineering fees. So there is money there for, to do just a preliminary sketch of the trail.
So what's the cost of that?
Kelly will have to get like a quote from a couple different companies that are,
She hasn't done that yet.
no, because she can't, until we approve it, so is it council's desire?
Just Mark, you're talking to a document that was last week.
Mhm.
Can we get a copy of it? Because I don't have it.
Oh, it's not in your binder?
No.
Oh, okay.
Me too, please.
You betcha. Excuse me for 1 second.
That's that idea. Sorry.
Well, I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
You got to have everything built, which is lower.
Where's the land running?
For shorter people.
Sorry, what was that, Rob?
You need land.
Well, that's one of the things that would have to happen in the future is you have to look at your OCD and your zoning and stuff like
Gotta
that.
change it.
Sort of identify areas where it would be allowed or wouldn't be allowed and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our page number on the top.
What's this again, sorry?
All right, so the goal would be to start with the sketch and then starting, moving forward and applying for the granting in next year's budget process. But in order to start, I'd like to get at least the sketch going.
Well, there's no risk in that, there's no harm in that, is there?
No, it's just the start, and then we'd have to meet with MOT staff and all of that kind of stuff, so there's a bit of a whole process.
Yeah.
So this is gonna take a while before we even get, not years maybe.
Well, it depends on the BC Bike grant application funding and all of that kind of stuff. We have to receive the funding in order to move forward.
What about highways?
Highways, we've spoken with highways quite a bit on this. Greg, Bruce, and Rick tagged along, and we went out and viewed the Dominion Creek Trail, the Gallardi Trail, how to get on and off the bridge, because that's the main concern, is that bridge. And then down around and under the bridge to Coleman Park to get up to the tiered system. And that encourages people to stay in McBride and then bike up to the mountain bike trails, or for people outside to use the mountain bike trails to come to work.
So for these biker trails and bikers that's going across the bridge, we're gonna probably need lights up there then probably.
Not according to them, no. Ministry of Transportation said we would need a right-of-way on the road, which they can do. The pedestrian crosswalk that really hit the safety components on it, and then having proper signage, which they said once we get going, they don't have a problem doing the proper signage, so it'll forewarn motorists that coming up that there are cyclists on the road while they go over the bridge from both directions.
And what about the speed?
The speed will remain the same, is my understanding.
90?
70.
No, the bridge is 90.
90?
So
70 is up where the light's at, that's where it starts with
Right,
coming
yeah,
into
that's
town. But no,
the bridge would be
it's
90.
90.
Mm.
So they're gonna have to have a problem with that, maybe, unless they,
That's a good point,
70
Councillor
trainer.
Thompson, or Councillor Bazanza to bring up with them.
Mhm.
Wait, question on the bridge, okay? Made note of that so that when we talk with MOT, we can talk about that. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah,
Councillor
some questions.
Thompson?
So I'm looking at the report from last council meeting. And it says, in order for us to proceed, we're gonna need, like, I don't see where it says we need a sketch. I see it says,
Number one,
where am I looking here? Oh,
Second
Page two, the
page.
second
Oh.
page.
The first number one.
yeah.
okay, I didn't, I read, and I was reading the word engineering. Okay, I withdraw that question. I just wanted to make sure that what we were doing was taking us along this path.
Yeah.
No,
So to be clear, in speaking with our grant writer, we don't need like an engineered schematic like we did for the bridge, so pages and pages. But it has to be drawn and certified by an engineering firm. So it's not like $100 to start this process.
What is it?
I don't know because we have not received direction to even start that, even going to them for quotes we charged.
So what we're approving right now isn't costing us anything.
I don't know how much they quoted, neither the quote nor or the likeliness of what it will be. Will it be 2,000, will it be 5,000?
We'll look at 10,000.
It's supposed to be a quick sketch of the connecting trail. That's what it's, the first one is. Later on, you get into engineered
Okay.
stuff.
so really all we're providing, being asked to do right now is to give direction to staff to proceed with pursuing this.
Yes.
Okay.
When was the last time we talked to the bike group?
Let's see. Talked to Enid a couple days ago. Is there a question?
Them being here explain what we know.
This is actually a different,
It is, okay.
Yeah.
And the grant writer works very closely with the
Yeah,
bike group.
yeah.
Oh, does he?
No,
She does.
the club is well aware of this,
Okay,
and they are supportive of it, but this is a council initiative because it's
This
on
is
the
ours.
council side of things,
Okay.
yes.
okay, so
So
what does the motion say?
we need a motion to approve funding for the schematic, which, actually, I don't want to call it a schematic because then that might confuse it. To do number one, to design a quick sketch of the connecting trail.
So what I have is direction to staff to proceed to get a quote for the sketch. That's what I got jotted down.
That was
Okay,
my
sorry.
understanding.
Yes.
So first we'll do a quote and then we'll,
And we can get that back to you for your next regular meeting.
next regular meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so sorry, what the motion is again?
I don't have a motion, I just have direction
Oh, okay.
to staff to proceed with quote for sketch. And then I just added, I'm sure we can have it for your next regular meeting, if that's suitable.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And so then I don't need a motion on that at all. We'll just, staff will proceed. All right, so next item on the agenda are council reports. Who wants to go first?
I will. I got some, I would like to know if everything's ready for the winter, the maintenance of the trucks, graders, the sand, the salt, is that already?
It is, and I thought that they reported it rightfully at our last regular council meeting. So yes, it is.
Okay, are we gonna be hiring an extra person?
HRLR matters are usually discussed in town.
I'm sorry.
Anything else to report, Councilor Bazanza?
Well, the CN, I found that out, that's, I don't think it's gonna happen, but that's fine. These contractors actually, when they're coming in and cleaning other businesses' snow, I brought it up last year, and we had a little problem up by the high school. I figured there would be a letter sent, I don't know if there was, but if they're gonna clean snow, please do not put it in our property.
Yes, letters were sent out.
It was sent out?
Yeah, and it will be followed up on again this year.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's good. So we're all ready, okay.
Okay. Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Martin. My report, October 20th, I attended the Regional District Fraser Fort George meeting in Prince George. The highlights of the meeting are included in the agenda. We talked about development permits in our area. I think there were 4 of them. And there was an application for a letter of support from the Valley Museum and Archives, rural dividend application. Those are things that were sort of relevant to our area. October 21st, the MCFC shareholders meeting was held here, and on October 22nd, the MCFC AGM was held at the Robson Valley Community Center. October the 24th, I attended the Business Utility Select Committee meeting. We're continuing to review the garbage, water, sewer, and fees and charges bylaws in preparation for a report to council. Also on October the 24th, I attended the Rural Dividend Select Committee meeting. I did that just to gain an understanding of what's moving forward, and it's a public meeting. I have an interest in that area. In addition, on October the 13th, I traveled to Victoria to attend a Rural Advisory Council meeting. This was our 7th meeting, and it involved several presentations and council input on a number of questions. We covered topics of forest sector competitiveness agenda and communities in transition. We addressed the value-added wood strategy, benefits for rural communities. We had a presentation on community forests. We spoke about rural education and the role of rural schools, schools in rural communities. We had an update on the rural dividend. I provided to Karen our report and the grant application booklet. And we also talked about climate action and rural communities. And this is just can be kept in the office. This is a report from Mackenzie, from the Regional District. This was strong past bright futures. That's a competitive agenda for British Columbia forest sector. You can have a copy of that. I'm also pleased to bring people up to speed that on October the 21st, Premier Christy Clark announced that Caribou Chilcotin MLA Donna Barnett was sworn in as a Minister of State for Rural Economic Development by Lieutenant Governor Judith Gouchon. And this is a kind of a continued growth of the Premier's and Donna's push to have rural British Columbia thought of in a higher profile as everything moves forward through a rural lens. And so having her at the cabinet table is a huge plus to the Rural Advisory Council and to the province, as they recognize that when rural communities are strong, the province is strong. Then on October the 19th, we had a Healthy Communities Committee. We discussed things like possibly sponsoring free public skating events, winter walking, a Healthier You conference, and a compilation of documents highlighting winter opportunities in McBride. And then I just had other phone calls, and I see I have another one, and discussions with community members. And so that is my report for. I'll entertain any questions, corrections, or omissions.
Ladies?
Okay. I have, well, sadly I missed the horse show on October 15th. The weather wasn't the greatest, but I heard there was a great turnout. October 21st, shareholder meeting. October 22nd, MCFC AGM public meeting. On October 23rd, fundraiser at the Eve Church, a spaghetti dinner and silent auction. I was happy to join the prep team, really good team. A lot of silent auction items. Told they served approximately 300 people, ready to go to the volunteers and organizers. And then a reminder that next month is flu vaccine month. I would just like to point out there are posters being put out for dates and times. You can call the public health unit to make an appointment. And let's not forget, Monday is Halloween. Have fun, be safe. And don't forget, the fire department will be starting their firework events at 7:15.
Councillor Tracy? Councillor Harper?
Had a really quick 2 weeks. I attended the MCFC meeting, or shareholders meeting by phone on the 21st and the AGM on the 22nd. And that was it for me.
All right, you have a copy of mine there. And since my last report, I've been on a couple occasions with a group of seniors at Weaverview that are concerned with the length of time and the disruption that the renovations are causing them. On Monday, October 17th, I attended the Winter Awareness Meeting at LDM as the Public Works Liaison. The purpose of the meeting was to go over summer projects that LDM has completed. We were updated on the brushing for safety done by LDM crews, coverage during the winter months, and information on where to get up-to-date weather and road information that's posted on their website and the Drag BC site. I also had the opportunity to meet with some locals interested in creating a guide to promote recreational tourism in our area of biking, hiking, climbing, ice fishing, or ice climbing, fishing, and water activities in the Robson Valley. I have a report here I'll address on it later. As the chair on the MCFC board on October 18th, I provided orientation sessions for 2 new counselors and assisted in the preparation for the MCFC open house and the AGM, which I attended on October 22nd. The board of directors also had a meeting on October 20th in preparation for the shareholders meeting with the village council on October 21st, which I attended. And I noted that although the AGM section went well, the question and answer section really showed that the community is still really divided on the structure of the corporation and on how the board of directors is to be appointed or elected. Also on Friday, October 21st, I met with the new executive director for Prince George Community Foundation and brought her up to speed on the history of the Community Foundation when she traveled through the valley. I actually had gone to high school with her, so it was nice to catch up. I haven't seen her in a lot of years. On Monday, October 24th, I attended the Business Utilities and Fees Charges Committee meeting. The group went over some of the metered water information and has requested a few more details from administration with the intent to have some recommendations to council by the next council meeting. I also met with the Rural Dividend Committee on October 24th and worked on the Tiny House project, which has been renamed as a case for McBride Community Pocket Neighborhoods. The committee's recommendation is requesting village support and applying for rural dividend funding is before council tonight. And I especially want to thank Linda Farry, Dale Stevens, and Archie McLean for their invaluable input in the Tiny House project. Thanks very much. And that's my report. I'll give you that.
Oh, I've got copies.
Oh, you've got copies?
I do.
All right. So then the next one is administration. Reports on page 23.
It is.
Go ahead there.
It's business as usual at the office. I assisted Mr. Gillis, and we have looked at the 2016 budget and a 5-year financial plan. It has been submitted to council for review, and unfortunately we're still waiting for our professional advice on that to bring it forward. The document and data control measures that we had started, oh my gosh, 6-8 weeks ago now are almost complete. So that covers the documents, all of the village's documents, all of their data, including hard copy and electronic. We are working with Community Futures to support their November 16th business workshop, which looks very, very fun. Bylaws and policies that administration has looked at this last month have been the Human Resource Committee terms of reference. We have revisited the permissive tax exemption. I do apologize to council for bringing it on such short notice, that it took Mr. Gillis and I, my goodness, he's the one who finally got them to call us back. So it has taken 2 months to get answers from them. So I have brought it forward tonight, and I do recognize that we are in a short deadline should we want to to amend it as administration is recommending, because that has to be put to the province the 31st of October. So, and I do again apologize for the short notice. Unfortunately, I can't scream at BC assessment. We've worked on the officer bylaw, which is again for councils to look at and approve. We spent considerable hours collecting and extrapolating data for the chair for the council committee work on the utility business things. We've been working very closely with our IT professionals, with our new email system. That's been good, and hopefully we'll all be wrapped up on this Friday with that. And other things is the ongoing meetings, agenda work, reports, this sort of thing. We have completed the reviews, interviews, and background checks for the finance officer position. Recommendations will be going to council this evening in camera. Of course, we work weekly, sometimes daily, with the regional district and building inspectors in our various ministries. And that was our month in a nutshell.
So you have the updated one from the EDO. And you've got the finance, no, finance isn't there, and then public works,
There will
November
be no-
8th it's due.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
can I get a motion to receive the reports for information?
Move to receive.
Thank you, Councilor Garrett, seconder. Thank you. All in favor?
Is it possible to ask
Carried.
a question about the EDO report?
Certainly. If I can answer, I will.
I mean, so I'm looking at the communication content strategy, and I'm just asking the question, how does that relate to this document that we have?
He has gone through that document
He
as
didn't
well.
cite it in here as one of the references, so.
No, he didn't refer to it. And I know that he welcomes appointments and phone calls and emails and stuff. He really enjoys engaging on his subject matter.
Because I just know that a lot of work was done by NDIP on this, and we as council sat down and went through it again. And I don't want to throw out a good document.
That's an internal communication document, is it not?
No, it provides,
Yeah.
covers.
So
Kinds of things.
some of the comments that I can share is that his focus is, as he said, it is simply not enough to say it's a social media network. It requires a specific strategy. So I don't think that he's dismissed that. He didn't cite it because he's looking at it from a different angle. Now, I do know that he's preparing a PowerPoint that he would like to present for the next council meeting, looking at a number of things, and this may be one of the items, yeah.
There is social media policy cited in that document.
In
Maybe
this-
I'll just touch base with
I think that'd be a grand idea, yeah.
them. Okay.
All right. We'll move on to correspondence requiring action. So on page 26, you have the postponement of the Valley Museum and Archive requesting a letter of support for their funding application for the rural dividend. So the motion reads that Council of the Village of McBride write a letter of support for the Valley Museum and Archive Society funding application to the community capacity building program for a project manager. Can I get a mover?
So moved.
Seconder?
Second it.
Any questions?
So, this was brought back, and part of the question was the wording in the, was it a resolution of support or was it a letter of support? And what they need is a resolution from their board and a letter of support from us. So, just for clarification.
And I also spoke with Madeline at the rural dividend because one of the questions was our case housing is applying for the same funding. So would there, if we get too many under one thing, would they pick and choose? And Madeline said, no, there are no limits that way, and that the goal is to fund the best projects, period. So, they won't be in competition necessarily with each other. They'll be competing with everybody, just like everybody will be, but that'll be about it, so.
Right.
So I feel very comfortable in supporting the museum.
And that was a change in the second round of funding.
Mhm.
And so is there any other comments on that one? Then I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried.
I was talking to her yesterday, means that she received her grant, $220,000. She told me I was allowed to say it here.
You're kind of out of order here, is there a point?
No, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Once the question's closed,
Pardon me?
once the question's closed, it's closed.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so the next item is on page 27. It's a letter from Sheila Foster from the Robson Valley Arts and Culture Council requesting a resolution, a letter of support. For NDIT funding for the RVACC Fraser Heritage Festival. It's on page 27. And like I said, there's the motion there, so can I get a mover on the motion? So moved. And a seconder? Okay, Councilor Zanzin. Discussion?
Question?
Is your hand up?
That is,
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Thompson.
more for clarification, perhaps Sheila could answer the question. Is this a request for the event that's already happened, the events that have already happened, or is it a request for the future year?
It's for 2017.
Okay, then that motion needs to be
Corrected.
corrected to 2017.
Perfect.
Yeah. That would also be as amended. Any other comments or questions, council? Nope. I'll call the question then, all in favor? Carried. And we'll move on to bylaws, permits, and policies. So the next item is on page 34. Regarding the permissive tax exemption bylaws that Kelly was talking about. So the motion reads that the Council of the Village of McBride receive a report on the permissive tax exemption bylaw 761.1.2016. Can I get a mover on that? Steve.
Second.
Any discussion? Did you want to bring this up and you say anything?
Well, we could probably touch on that one actually.
On the next one?
Yeah, because I was asked, or do people have questions on the report? I'm happy to talk about it.
Council? Nope. Questions? I'll call the question then, all in favor? Carried. Next item, still in relation to the bylaw, a motion that the Council of the Village of McBride give the first and second reading to the amended bylaw 761.2.2016. Mover? So moved. Seconder?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Question to administration.
Yes.
So we're aware that the bylaw was changed from where it talked about lots 3, 4, and 5. I believe there's 3 amalgamated lots over there.
That's absolutely correct.
So
Yes.
now we're amending it to bring back in that, and I guess I need a clarification on what's meant by 100% of the right side of Class 8 land. Can you explain what that means to me?
I will try my very best. Mr. Gillis spoke with a supervisor, as it were, or a manager in this department at BC Assessment. So Mr. Gillis explained to me the conversation he'd had, and then one of the fellows that holds this case file that we've been talking to before phoned and we went through it. So what it means, so there had been some challenges previously where perhaps someone hadn't fully understood because the lots had been amalgamated and there'd been, what are they called? It says in my report, a unit investigator had come out Are they called community investigators? Assessment information collector had come to McBride in 2015. And so this is the records that they finally released to us. They had spoken to someone in the church hall who had said it was used 6 to 9 times a month. So it came in at under 150 times a year that the hall was used. So they made a unilateral decision without discussing with the village, or I think indeed the church, I can't speak for the church, that made it ineligible for exemption. So there's 2 types of exemption. There's the exemption of the land or the improvements on the land, which are any buildings. So when Mr. Gillis and the supervisor spoke with the fellow that manages this file, they had said there is a fix for this. Just because it's been amalgamated into one lot does not mean that we cannot grant exemption to the hall. And that's why the language, 100% of the right side of that block. So that the left side of the block, according to their maps, where the manse is, remains as a residential, but we now can include the hall and give exemption to the hall, not just the land, but the building itself, to the church. I strongly recommend we do it. I think it's a fair thing to do. And it's a way for us to fix what was a problem and a challenge for the church over this last year, this last taxation year. And again, I just apologize for the shortness in the time for council to consider it, because we just got this information back from them finally.
So, follow-up question if I may. With this wording, how does this compare to the previous, before it was changed?
For the 2014, if 2013?
Like when it used to say lots 3, 4, and 5.
It did.
But how does this compare to that?
How does this compare? So it's lots 3, 4, and half of 5. So there used to be lots 3, 4, and 5.
I think so, I can.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct. And it's been, so it was amalgamated because the buildings ran over it, it was grandfathered into one giant lot, sort of.
Okay.
So now what we can do is we can, and I think ethically that we should, support the tax exemption for the hall. And that was the argument that Mr. Gillis made. We are a small community, and who are you to decide? If the hall was never used for church events, sure, that's one thing. But it's used as regularly as any other small community hall is. And that was his argument forward to BC assessment, and it was accepted.
Thank you.
Only one follow-up question. This has to be completed by October 31st?
I am so sorry, yes, I just got this information from the junior file manager that.
So maybe, I'm not sure whether this is the point, so we're gonna give a first, second reading, third reading, how are we going?
What are we now, we're the 25th? It would literally be the very briefest of meetings, and we could post immediately, I could post tonight. We could do first, second, and third. Can't we do all 3 and then wait?
I think you can do all 3, and then you have to have a
24
full
hours,
24
full
hours
24
before
hours.
you do final reading and adoption. So if that's the case and the deadline's October 31st, I would do first, second, and third readings tonight, and then follow up with a brief one either Monday morning or
I just wanna make sure
Friday.
this is fixed and done.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I feel so terrible pressuring, I'm not trying to pressure you guys, but I truly think that it was a grave oversight, and it's our chance now to do that.
So we would have to amend the motion to include
First, second, and third reading?
readings.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, any other questions? No? I'll call the question then. All in favor? Carried.
Oh, I don't, oh yes, I do. I've got Councillor Reichert and Councillor Thompson, was that?
Yeah, Councillor
Thank you.
Reichert moved,
Thank
Thompson
you.
seconded, and it's as amended and
Thank
carried.
you.
The next item on the agenda is the Officers Bylaw 766.2016 final draft. Motion that the Council of the Village of McBride give the Officers Bylaw 766.2016 its first and second reading. Oh, page 44. So moved. Seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Discussion? Looks much better than the other one. Modern fonts and
Well,
everything.
and just please look it over, because I realized I forgot one more, left something in that we had struck last time. And I'm hoping I've caught everyone's thoughts in it, so if you could just please give it a look over. And
I didn't see any problems with it. Anyone else? No? I'll call the question then. All in favor? Carried. The next item on the agenda is on page 56. And it's Northwest Fuels Limited, their invoice. So the motion reads that Council of the Village of McBride resolved to pay Northwest Fuels Limited invoice for aviation fuel in the amount of $3,850.02. Can I get a mover on that? So moved. Seconder.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So this fuel, that's for the paints that come in and they buy it off us?
that's correct.
Any other questions? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. And the next item on your agenda is that one on page 55. That's the sands distribution statement. Motion that the Village of McBride resolve to pay the Sands Distribution Limited statement for the fuel for the public works vehicles in the amount of $525.10. So moved. Seconder?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Next item on the agenda is a motion that in accordance with section 91C labor relations and
No,
or,
10C and D.
oh, thank you. Where are those? What did I do with them?
These ones?
Yes, those ones, sorry about that group. There we go. So we've got the EDO report that was updated. So the first one on would be the McBride Pocket Community Study. So this is the report to Council from the Rural Dividend Committee. I'll just hit some highlights because I know you guys didn't get enough time to read over it, and you also have the handout that goes with it. These were Dale Stevens's drawings, renderings. I thought they were just amazing. Basically, the group has been working on it since the last rural dividend, but we felt that we needed to break it down a little bit more. So basically what it is there's a strategy involved. One is to create a pocket community, which is a small-scale neighborhood, which places a smaller footprint houses on single or combined lots with common landscaped areas and gardens. The idea is to promote the interaction between residents, promote a greater sense of community. So pocket communities are felt to be very, very beneficial for our seniors. They also address the needs for housing without sacrificing green space, individuality, or privacy. So basically there were so many ideas on this subject matter. It was a really interesting couple months dealing with all of this and getting all the information together. But basically this is just the start. We're applying for the $10,000 funding to bring this to fruition. Hopefully it will create, we're not looking to create 100 tiny houses or small houses in a month. It's not going to be a grand thing. It's supposed to be a small business idea that can grow, and the idea is for council to support it, get the work done, and it becomes an opportunity for members of the public to create this and to create like a seniors co-op or to create a seniors housing project and that kind of thing. The neat thing about these ones, you can also include the eco and the green features, like such as passive solar panels, on-demand heating, which it requires cost savings because they're built in conjunction with the size of the material, they're cheaper to build. And in keeping with that, they should be, you should achieve a cost savings in maintaining them as well, and heat and light and stuff like that. We also felt that they could be used in situations like the Fort McMurray fires, where afterwards, usually they bring in aqua trailers and stuff like that while they deal with it. Well, these ones, you could actually bring them in, use them for your EOC or whatever is required, and then they stay in the town afterwards to become part of housing. The other kinds of uses that the group brainstormed on was using it for lane housing, outside studio space, used for tourism accommodation. We felt it would give a really big boost, given what's all going on with the ancient cedar forest and the mountain bike trails. And we just had a great summer with the lower gas prices, and with American Exchange, we had a lot of traffic through the valley, which was great. So this could take and spur the economic development in the tourism sector. And it can also be used for affordable housing for single parents and stuff who don't have the high-end jobs, but still want a good quality of life. And in this way, they can either own or live in a really nice little house while they move up the ladder. And in McBride, it would give them a better quality of life as well. Overall, the things that would affect council on this is this initiative, we would probably have to, it's not even probably, we would have to go through a public process to look at our bylaws, amend our official OCP plan to, designate areas for pocket neighborhoods. So we'll definitely have to have a conversation with administration. The village also benefits by an increased population and a modest increase in taxable properties, because as you're aware, seniors don't bring in a lot of taxes, but they're important to our community. So, and like I said, the idea isn't for us to take it on to fruition and do all this. It's just to create the plan and allow the opportunities to happen. So the Rural Dividend Committee would like your support to apply for the $10,000 in project development funding from the Rural Dividend Committee.
Mayor Martin, so my question is, who will be writing this proposal for the Rural Dividend Committee? As it's due October the 31st?
Well, that is something I can do. I can work on it, and I'm sure our group would work on it too.
And we would need it in time to proof it closely, because it's the administration that has to sign off on it. The only reason I bring this up is, as our grant writer let you know, she works Friday, and then it's due Monday, and she isn't willing to work outside of her designated hours.
I don't have a problem with that, Kelly. We can spend some time and even fold it around the group if that is of assistance.
Well, it would have to be done by...
By Monday?
Yeah, no, but by you guys.
Yeah.
Karen won't be here to help with it.
Yes,
She's out
no,
there.
I get that.
So maybe the motion should reflect that as well.
Well, the council has to support it, but then I will just state sort of like direction to council. Direction will be that the members of the Rural Dividend Committee complete the paperwork. If that's okay?
I'm just writing it out. Motion that the motion that the council of the Village of McBride support.
No, apply, because we're not supporting
Oh,
anybody.
apply.
We're actually applying
Okay.
for the $10,000 project development funding in the Rural Dividend program. I guess it would.
Yep.
Would that be good enough?
Yeah, and further, that
The committee will complete
the
the application. Is that good?
That's perfect. I've got it written down.
Okay, so I need a mover, just a Second, Councillor Thompson?
So moved.
So moved. Seconder?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Tracy. Discussion, Councillor Thompson?
So again, just to
Have
ensure,
we got the wording wrong?
no, I just want to ensure that because I'm a member of the Rural Advisory Council, I'm going to step aside from the vote on this topic.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Does council have any more questions on the pocket communities and the renderings that you've got in front of you?
These houses, they're prefab, aren't they?
Well, they would
They
be.
just slap
They're-
together and,
No, the goal would be to create the templates of, for example, these houses. And then they're small enough that they can literally be built all in a building, disassembled, taken apart, and stored. For
okay.
So that's how they can be transported up for alpine cabins and stuff
Yes.
like that too. Does that answer your question?
So they'd be all together as one group, or like, or
It
would
would-
it
it
be different lots?
It would be, the lots would have to be, in order to do a pocket neighborhood, you basically need 2 lots together if you're going to put 4 on. The group even discussed strategic locations of these houses, because it's known that sunlight, a lack of sunlight promotes dementia in seniors. So that's the reason for the strategic location of
Should
the
I be inviting
houses.
Councillor Thompson in for the discussion? Because we were moving to,
Yeah.
Carrie, shall I
Just-
invite it in, or
No,
we want to go ahead and
we'll
get
just
the
go
other
ahead and
one?
do it. It answers Councillor Zanzan's question.
Mhm.
So yeah, so they can all be built and manufactured, and Archie actually submitted a drawing, so Archie is an engineer, and it's the same thing, pocket houses, but these are 2 stories used as row houses. So he submitted some drawings as well, but I only have the 1 copy, sorry, I didn't make any more. So they're very flexible, and that's the whole idea, is to keep it flexible, to keep them simple, to keep them efficient, and it increases the density, which is sustainable within the village limits.
'Cause the reason why I'm asking this
Councillor
is that,
Thompson should really be called back in for discussion, not
Please,
the mayor,
Councillor.
if you had called the question.
Sorry, go ahead,
the
Councillor.
reason why is that you can go and get these from Home Hardware, you can they'll build them for you, and they'll put them on a lake lot where you want. They're a certain size, and it's for, I wanted a cabin, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
So, it might happen that, could
Yeah.
happen here.
The idea was not to, like I said, have it be a big thing or anything like that. This is just a local thing within the area, and an identified need. It was in large part based on the Chamber of Commerce affordable housing study that they did, and reported to us, so it's in conjunction with that sort of.
Well, people were, they need a place here for elderly with their own place if they want that,
I know they do. Yeah.
so this is a good idea.
Okay, well, thank you, Councillor Zan. Councillor Riker?
Can you just clarify for me, please, you're applying for the $10,000 grant? Or what is that $10,000 for?
It's for, they class it as a feasibility study.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No,
Councillor Thompson, you
I
want
know.
to dismiss yourself? Thank you. I'll call the question and all in favor? Carried. All right. And then the climbing group, that's the last one.
Councillor Thompson.
All right, now, report to council. So I've submitted you guys a small report, so I had several of our locals, and I'm going to call them young adults. And their idea is they want to increase recreational tourism and outdoor activities in the Robson area, specifically by creating a guide that addresses human-powered activities. So, also they're discussing using different types of social media in conjunction, because there are some that are already set up. So they're exploring that right now. But they want to include hiking, biking, climbing, ice climbing, paddling, fishing, and possible other local outdoor destinations, so maybe a glacier hike or something like that. So they're just forming their plan, coming together. The group, they're experienced, very avid climbers and outdoor enthusiasts. They've hiked all over BC, they've climbed all over BC, and they really feel that the Robson Valley has a lot more to offer. And as the areas are new, they're actually, as this summer, they've spent a great deal of time in the valley actually cleaning out climbs and using their own money to put clamps in and stuff like that for climbing. So it's not that they haven't done anything, they're already well on their way to doing things. They've also done a lot of background work on what types of things that this type of group would appeals to and what they like to do. So they're typically the type of people that like day trips. There's also like when they go to, I think it was the Smoke Bluffs they called it, there are so many people climbing that you literally have a 4-hour wait time so that you can climb. And that's why they feel it would be beneficial in the Robson Valley. So they also know that when they're climbing, they basically want a trailhead very close to the crag, because they don't want to spend 5 hours hiking in to do a climb and then climb down and then do 5 hours hiking out. So they want some things that are accessible. They had made comments with all the hikes in the areas and stuff like that, that we really need to clean up some of the trails and clean up some of the, have better signage. And what they were asking, they're going to meet again in November, and they're in the process of actually creating a list of locals from these different areas to meet and start to have some discussion on their idea. What they've asked is for information on grants relating to marketing of this type, grants for physically improving the climbing areas, because like I said, they're all doing it out of their own pocket, and possibly training funding for search and rescue type courses. One of the guys is already highly certified in it. The other main concern is liability, but as they had said, they don't know how other areas do this. So, because like, for example, the Smoke Bluffs, there's a book on it. There shows all the climbs, shows the severity of the climbs, the degrees, you know, how hard it is. So they were looking for information on liability in the areas, in specifically with outdoor activities such as this. So I talked to Kelly about it, and she had said that has to come as direction from council.
Well, it does, but there's other, just a couple of points. What is the name of this group? Are they a society?
No, they're just starting.
What are the names of the people? What are the contact information? We're welcome to take direction, but we need to at least know all of that. The other thing is the Village of McBride and administration of McBride is not in any way qualified, capable of giving advice on insurance for climbers.
It was for the industry.
I'm sure they could find that on Google search. I'd be happy to write a letter to that fact.
Okay, that would probably be a good idea,
Yeah.
because that is
So,
one of their main
yeah,
concerns.
my recommendation, and we're happy to take direction where we can, but are these trails, do they start in the village of McBride?
No.
Do they end in the village of McBride?
No.
How far are they from the village of McBride?
All over the valley, Kelly.
So I'm wondering about a resource, would that be Robson, should they maybe think about Robson Valley Tourism too?
They're aware of Robson Valley.
So, we're happy to do that. The liability thing, occupier liability, that I did not know was something that you might want administration to look into.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that both the grant writer and EDO would be a really good fit to meet with them.
Okay. I will let them know that once they get their meeting going.
Yeah, and I'm happy to reach out to them, but we need some kind of contact information.
Okay, I can supply the names.
Perfect, thank you.
So do we need any direction on this then, or
No.
Kelly, or?
No, we're happy to look into it. My only concern is that the whole idea of occupier liability, that will be all.
Okay.
That we're not.
Council have any questions on that? Okay,
In addition, they'll probably want to talk to Ministry of Forest Lands and Natural Resource Operations. They'll want to talk to the Chamber of Commerce. They'll probably want to talk to the search and rescue people. By the sounds of things, they'll also probably want to talk to the Regional District of Greater Fort George. So they don't want to have a discussion with our director, Daniel Allen.
and they'll probably want to talk to the site guy, the recreational, the one that took over Elaine Shaw.
So this group is just a happy-go bunch of guys who don't hang out.
Have fun.
It's just it was I know the two sets, and they're both had the same type of idea kind of at the same time, so I facilitated a meeting and introduced the two groups. And so they're just on the start. There was a lot of conversation, and they are moving forward, but this is just the start for them. So I thought I would assist
No.
in that way.
What we'll do is we can do a whole list of stuff that we have and contact information we may have, like for Danielle and stuff. We can do it up in a letter, and then if you can email
Yeah.
a mailing address or something.
I can definitely.
And I will say that we don't like to comment on the occupier's liability because it really is out of our area of expertise.
So I get emails to Kelly. Will do.
That's Sandy McKenzie.
Sandy McKenzie, great, thanks, Counselor
Who-
Trees.
What's Sandy
Blake.
McKenzie?
Sandy McKenzie does,
Tourism.
Rec-
tourism, recs and trails, yeah.
That's, okay,
That's Ministry of Forest Lands next door.
Yeah.
and didn't, oh, that's right, it is
Yeah.
gone, never mind. Okay, I would have given them totally wrong information, okay.
Okay.
If anyone thinks of something, please drop me a quick email so I can put it in the letter for them.
All right, and now we're on to in-camera, so the next is a motion that in accordance with section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations, and 91I, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. And section 92C, a matter that is being investigated under the Ombudsman Act, of which the municipality has been notified under section 14, ombudsperson to notify authority of that act. So moved. Seconder,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Carried. And then a motion that the open meeting be recessed at 8:24 to conduct the closed in-camera meeting. Moved by Councilor Reichert, seconder.
Second.
Councilor Thompson, all in favor? Carried. Thank you everyone for coming out.